This is the fifth video in the series on producing a class diagram for the manufacturing plant controller system. If you haven't seen the others, please see them now. By the end of the fourth video, we have produced the class diagram that you see here. I shifted everything a little bit to the left because I want to add a few more classes. And I used the options in UMPL Online. I said make the canvas a little bit larger in order to make sure everything fits, because we're going to add some classes in this area. Let's take a look at what we have to do next. We're going to do the part that's marked in red. It says each product is composed of parts. Parts may be bought from suppliers, or maybe smaller products that are built from this company. Let's think about this for a second. So a part can be a product. In fact, why don't we just say that all of the parts are indeed products? If we go back here, that suggests that what we might want to do is we might want to make a reflexive association that says that a product type has parts that are product types. That would work, except for one thing. We might find that we have 10 or 15 of a given type of product as a part. And so I'm going to show you an important thing that we're going to do. We're going to create a class. Stick it there. I could call it part, but I'm going to give it a very special technical name I'll explain in a minute. I'm going to call it bill of material line item. Okay, bill of material line item, a fancy word for the parts. And I'm going to make an association that says, okay, that a product type is certainly going to be composed of some parts. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to go find where this appears. So we're going to say bill of material line item is going to have, is going to be for one of these product types. Okay, just one. Okay, so that's an important thing that we have to be concerned about. Okay, so that's, we'll update. And I'm going to say here a number, call it number required. Okay. So the idea here is that a product type has a bunch of things, 10 of one thing, 15 of another, 25 of another. What are those things? Well, let's draw another association between the same classes. Okay, those things that are the parts are the product types. So we have two associations here between the same two classes. Pretty important. Now, it's not many to many. Okay, we have to again go and immediately work on the multiplicity here. What is the multiplicity? Let's go down and think about this for a second. A bill of material line item is going to have some product types that are indeed the parts. Okay, but we have to label, but we have noticed that we have two variables the same here. That's not going to work in UMPL. Okay, so the first one that we've already labeled, we can leave it the way it is. We can say that this is the parts that it has. Okay, you know, the number of items required, for example. Item required, let's just say item rec there. And going the other direction, we're going to say that this is also a 1, and it's also here, then we're going to call it part. So there we have our bill of material line item, which is essentially the parts of a product type. You'll notice that this bill of material line item also has the structure of an association class. So now we have 3 association classes in the system. Why is it an association class? Well, it has many to one, many to one. And we originally talked about the fact that we could have this class of parts, which would be, or this relationship, which would be many to many. We've turned a many to many into a class with a many to one relationship. So that's an association class. Let's continue and think about what we need to add now. Let's add this notion of suppliers. Parts may be bought from suppliers. Okay, so we're going to go back here and we're going to add a class we're going to call supplier. Okay, and presumably a supplier has a name. Okay, name, great. And what information do we have about suppliers? Well, we know that a supplier is going to supply us with some of the parts. Okay, so we can make an association there. And we also know, in addition to that, the supplier might also supply us with certain specific products. But let's get to that after we've done the multiplicity. Let's go down here and say that we have an association here between product type and supplier. So we're going to find product type. Okay, it says product type can have many suppliers. Is that reasonable? Yeah. And what about a supplier supplying many product types? Also reasonable. So we're going to leave that in as a many-to-many. Now, there may be an association class there, but we're not going to put one in this particular example. What I am going to do, however, is I'm going to say that a particular product might be created or sold by a particular supplier. Okay, so now we have a relationship between product and supplier, and so let's find the class product so we can modify the multiplicity. Okay, so a product, okay, could be made by one of these external suppliers, or maybe not. Maybe it's made by ourselves. If it is made by an external supplier, then there will be a link, otherwise there wouldn't be. So I'm going to say that this is 0.1. Okay, it's an optional association. Okay, and what's the diagram update? And then we'll say, okay, let's put a role name on this. Let's say that, so we call the supplier the maker. There it is. Let's go back to our Word document. A few more things to finish off. We haven't yet dealt with the bins. Okay, we have to be able to say that product type is found in a particular bin. And we also have to talk about this notion of the order. Okay, so when orders for products are filled. Okay, that's this part down here. Okay, the rest of the stuff, in fact, we've done. So let's go back up here. And we're going to add two classes. Class number 1 is going to be order. And class number 2 is going to be bin. A second, I have to wait for the diagram to update. Bin. Umble runs a bit slow sometimes over slow internet connection. What we're going to do to finish this off is we're going to just go into the options and we're going to turn off the syncing between the diagram and the text. You can do that if things run a little bit slow. Okay, we're going to say that a bin is going to have a number. Okay, we could say it's an integer, but let's just leave it simple for now. And we're going to say that we're going to put a relationship between the product type and the bin. Okay, so we're going to go find product type, and we're going to say that a product type is found in a certain bin. Okay, what's the multiplicity? Okay, well, we know that at the bin end, it could be found in several bins, right? What about at the other end? A bin can have how many product types? I would assume 1. Or maybe if it's empty, it could be 0 temporarily. 0.1. That sounds like a reasonable multiplicity there. And then we've got one more thing to do, and that is the multiplicity between, or the association between product and order. Okay, so we've got our class order here, and our class product, and we can say that an order is going to be for a particular number of products. Okay, star product, you know that, Presumably, people can buy several products. What about the other end? Okay, can only be bought once, right? So a product is ordered in one order? What about 0.1? A product is ordered in 0.1 order because it might not be ordered yet. Okay, so an order is for multiple products, and a product may have an order for it. Sound reasonable? These are the individual items that we're fulfilling the order of, individual serial numbers. One thing to note is that there are other design options. This is not the only way to solve this problem. There are other possibilities. This is just one possible solution. We can go back to automatic sync, and it will fill in these associations. We can rearrange the diagram a bit to make things look a little bit nicer. So for example, we can do that, and we can click on this, and we can move it down a little bit so that it fits better. You can keep adjusting these things. So that's essentially the end of this little exercise. One thing I would like to mention is that there is an example directly here, manufacturing plant controller. If you look at the menu, manufacturing plant controller, this is a different version of the same model. You can just pick it and you can take a look at it. Slightly more nicely ordered, but essentially it's very much the same model. A few additional details have been added.